Coming up on Theater Talk.
You can be the hero in an interracial play or in any kind of play if your existence makes better the welfare or the life of somebody white. You know, if you are enhancing the life of somebody white. But if you want something for yourself or for other black people,
then you're a threat.
Then you're a threat.
Right.
Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation.
Eat your eggs, they're gonna get cold.
See there? Man say, I got me a dream. Woman say, eat your egg. Man say, I got to take hold of this here world, baby. Woman say, eat your eggs and go to work. Man say, I got to change my life. I'm choking to death. Woman say, your eggs is getting cold.
Now, Susan, we had Woodie King Jr. on, the founder of the New Federal Theater, not long ago. We had such fun with him. We invited him back. And he's brought with him a young actor that he's discovered who's new to us by the name of, checking my notes here, Denzel Washington. Welcome to Theater Talk, Denzel, and congratulations on your budding career in the theater.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're almost there.
I'm right there.
Yes, actually, Denzel is in A Raisin in the Sun, an absolutely superb revival on Broadway now, one of the great American plays. And he's with Woodie because he and Woodie sort of came up through the ranks together. You, in fact, cast Denzel in some of his early stuff, right?
Well, I don't want it to get out of hand, but Denzel did a show called When Chickens Came Home to Roost by Lawrence Holder, right? He would walk on stage and the audience would, because it played Malcolm X, and people thought Malcolm X had come back to life, right? And then
At the New Federal
Theater.
Theater.
The New Federal Theater. And the brother at the Schomburg said, hey man, Denzel would be in here, man, looking at these clips, man.
Right.
Needed all this stuff, and he had to have the right glasses on.
Right, right.
And he got to walk down,
Right.
you know, you got to walk down. And so what I discovered in those early years is no one worked harder on the stage to find his character than Denzel. And then when he transferred it to the film, it might be actors out there who claim, but no one works harder. That's what
We're gonna go on the road together.
Want to talk about Raisin in the Sun, one of my favorite plays. You saw a touring production, I think you told me.
Yes.
Of it. And who was in it when you saw
Okay,
it?
when I saw the touring production at the Cass Theater in Detroit, Douglas Turner Ward was playing Walter Lee, and Doug and Denzel are very close.
Right.
So the play would close at 10:30, 11. I would follow these actors from the theater to the hotel and ask
Now,
them.
you were living in Detroit.
I was living in Detroit, and Doug said, you know, you got to get to New York, man. You got to get to New York. And I hitchhiked to New York.
Is that right?
Really? Because of your experience with Raisin in the Sun? How
Oh,
did that
yeah,
go?
yeah.
When did you first come across Raisin in the Sun? The movie? Or?
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, I never saw the play, and I don't even remember when I saw the movie. I don't even know if I've seen the movie from start to finish.
Really?
Yeah.
Bits and pieces?
Yeah.
TCM late at night? Or
something, yeah. I didn't grow up in looking at movies. I mean, I was in sports.
Right.
So I wasn't really interested in being an actor. I never thought about it. I didn't know anybody who did it, and it just wasn't on the radar for me.
Well, I can speak to being the only one here who came close to seeing the original company, because I saw the Chicago tour with everybody except Ossie had come in for Sidney.
Okay.
And I have to say, you know, you give it a whole new interpretation, because I was 11 years old, but I will never forget it. It made a huge impression on me. At that time, you know, for somebody like me, it was like, I never really considered what was going on in the black community, and that this was such a wake-up call. What's it mean now? It's kind of.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That you know, people say, what do you want people to get from it? I say it depends upon what they bring to it.
Yeah.
So it's not for me to decide what you should get. You know, I think, and I've heard some people say to me, it's as much about class as it is about race.
And I think that makes it more relevant now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not obviously it's not news necessarily anymore as far as race.
They're right.
What I admire about that play is it's a damn well-made play.
Right.
It's a terrific piece of writing.
Right.
You know, the structure is great. It's in that great tradition of the American well-made play, which we don't see much of anymore.
Right. When Kenny called me up and we talked about doing another play, and he brought up this play, I was like, really? You think I can do that? And like, yeah, I think so. And there aren't that many. Well, there are, but these are two of the great roles, in Troy and Walter Lee. So I was like, oh, I better hurry up. Jump right on it, you know. So
I must say, though, I mean, because there was a whole thing, well, is Denzel with his age?
I tweaked it a little bit. I say I'm 40 now.
I know.
I don't say that.
You don't say 35.
35,
right?
Yeah, I say 40. But you know what was interesting? Someone said something to me about the age, and they were like, well, you know, you're only 6 years younger than LaTanya. I said, well, you know, actually, Sidney was only 9 years younger than Claudia. I didn't know that. I didn't realize. I thought she was 20, 30 years old. I didn't know.
That really doesn't matter. What happens is it's a major American actor who says, I want to explore this major American character. So it's a series of characters that he puts in his arsenal. And
yeah, because how old is Richard III?
Right.
How old is him? I don't know.
And his mother's hanging around.
You didn't have to tweak that.
Yeah, that's right.
At the end of the play, Mama is sitting there, and he said, come on, they charges for waiting. And she's sitting there, and he comes up and get her. Oh man, that's not written. You can't write that, you know.
And there is a nice bond and connection between the two of them, because that's the issue.
When you
the whole
reached
play.
down and got her arm and lifted her up. Oh man.
Like, come on, Mom.
Tears, man. Oh,
well,
man.
it's the physicalization, or whatever the word is, of what she says. He's coming to his manhood tonight or something. And then he comes and he supports his mother literally and figuratively, and he lifts her up, and he says, oh, wait a minute. Got to go back and get her.
I don't know. It's 3 or 4 moves that I've seen in the theater that I don't know where you got it from, Denzel, but I saw you do it in Fences, and I saw you do it in this play.
Don't ruin it for me now.
Okay.
Nah, go ahead. I'll really do it tonight. Whatever it is.
What is the move? What is
it?
The move is at the unbelievable point where he can do nothing, he gets weak in the knee. His legs almost, he has to be.
Oh, yeah, sometime I do that, yeah. When she says, I went and bought you a house.
Yeah.
I went and got it, she tells the grandson, yeah.
Travis, you know that money we got in the mail this morning?
Yes, sir.
You know what your grandmama gone and done with that money?
I don't know, Grandmama.
She went and she bought you a house.
The focus may not even be on me then, actually. If the audience, look at the director now. If the audience is, because the mother's talking, and I get whatever, but you saw that.
Yeah, I saw
most
that.
people may not even see it because their eyes are on her.
Because it's like that. It's so fast.
You know, his whole life he's waiting for this money, and at that point she says, "Hey, I went and bought a house."
Live in a house?
It's over. Now I do something more physical, which is actually I knock the tea kettle off the thing. You know, because it's like, where does that energy go? He's ready to walk out the house. I look at the beer. Should I go ahead and drink the beer? And it's like, you know.
This is my take. There's a drunk scene, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, every production I've seen, I did it with Kenny Leon once. Oh, they jump up on the table and they say, oh, come on. Denzel picks he's drunk. Denzel does
You're gonna ruin this for me.
he picks the
sometimes I sit in the chair first, or I climb up.
Right. That was beautiful.
What do you mean, they jump over it, or they jump up on it?
Yeah, jump up on
well,
it.
he's drunk.
He can't do that, right? And I'm saying, But in your performance, you define for me, oh, that's the way that's supposed to be done. If he's drunk, I've seen pictures of Sidney jumping up in the
on
air.
the chair,
but I'm like, he's drunk.
Yeah, how did he get
And
up
I don't think he's smooth. I think he's drunk.
Yeah,
I think the pain is so that he went to wash the pain away.
Killing it.
And I always tell actors this when I'm directing or my kids now that act. I say, you don't act drunk. You're trying to be sober.
That's right.
You're not trying to be drunk.
Yeah.
Who did I see just lately? Was it No Man's Land?
Yeah, no, Patrick
oh,
Stewart
man,
and
both
Ian
of them.
McKellen, they were terrific
Oh, they
drugs.
were killing me. So I went backstage and asked, and he said, well, I'm just like curling my toes up. And he's like, he's always trying to, he's back on his heels, but he's trying to, he said, if you just get back on your heels and you'll So I said, oh, I'll do that.
No, but that's
20
actually
minutes.
great advice for an actor playing drunk, because a drunk person is trying not to be drunk.
Exactly. You're not acting drunk, you are drunk. You're trying to act sober.
Sober, precisely. Now, Susan, there is an absolutely sensational revival of that great play, A Raisin in the Sun, on Broadway. We had Denzel and Woodie King on not too long ago. Denzel Washington, who's the star of it. But I tell you, as good as Denzel Washington is, that man is nothing without the support from 3 supremely talented actresses. I'm delighted to be joined tonight by LaTanya Richardson Jackson, who plays Lena Younger, the mother, holding this family together.
And let me just say, and the mother is nothing without her son.
And how does the sister of Walter Lee Younger feel about him, Anika Noni Rose, who plays Beneatha? How do you feel about Denzel and poor old Walter Lee in this circle of women?
Yeah, Walter Lee's a bit of a mess, but Denzel and I have a great time on stage, and it's fun to be with someone who could batter us with stardom on stage, but doesn't, and is there to work with the play and make the play work. And the long-suffering wife, played brilliantly by Sophie Okonedo. Yeah. Welcome to Theater Talk.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to ask you, because I saw the play last night, I was struck by the fact that, and allow me to play the devil's advocate here, I feel sorry for Walter Lee Younger, because he's completely dominated by all of these strong women. You guys, you never give him any chance to breathe in this household. Do you agree with that interpretation?
No.
No, well, all right. It's all Walter's fault?
No, I think it changes. I mean, I think all of us, there's no goodies and baddies. We all do. I mean, that's what makes it so nuanced, the piece. That I imagine, it's difficult to step outside it because I'm in the show, but I imagine when I was reading it that you have allegiance to one character and then it moves, it shifts to another character when they say something and it shifts back again, and that's what makes it so human. And so I feel all of us don't have room to breathe. Yeah. We live on top of each other. That's why we're desperate to leave.
Yeah, I thought that this production, directed by Kenny Leon, gives a wonderful sense of the claustrophobia of that apartment. I mean, you can really feel, Denzel just on the verge of exploding all the time.
Which is why it's great that we have found some way to find the humor in us living there. Because I said these people would kill each other with the intense situation and size of the space that they're living in with roaches. Yes. That they would have to kill each other if somebody didn't laugh at some point.
You provide a fair amount of the laughs when you come in with a great African dress, which brought down the house last time. Because, I mean, you are playing a woman who wants to break away as well from this household, does she not? I mean, she wants to discover a whole big world out there.
She wants to discover the world. She wants to discover womanhood. She wants to figure out who she is in the space of this really changing landscape of America, but also not confine herself to what America has decided that she should be. So she's really on the precipice of something great, whether it's a great explosion and a fabulous journey or a great disaster. She's standing on the edge of it, but she's going to jump into it.
That was Lorraine Hansberry, the playwright, depicting herself.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
You know, I saw this play in the first production. I actually saw the Chicago touring tour with the original cast, but Ossie Davis. The thing that blew me away, aside from the fact that I felt everybody was a victim of society, basically, but with Beneatha, her rejection of God, which in 1960 was something very radical and mind-blowing.
It was very radical, and it was very much Lorraine Hansberry. She had a respect for people and their religion, and she looked at it and she could think about it as an intellectual, but she did not believe in that. She believed that it was something that people needed in order to make it through this world because the world was so difficult.
When she says to you, you know, the thing about there is no God, and then you, as the mother, you have a very physical reaction. How do you play that scene without hurting her?
She hurts her.
Let me show you my stitches.
In my mother's house, there is God.
There's still God.
Yeah.
We practice every day. We have a fight call, and we practice because there is a part of your face, theoretically, where it won't hurt if someone hits you,
But
and
it makes
slaps
good
you,
noise.
but it makes a loud noise, and it's in the hollow of the cheek. So I aim for that nightly. I can't see, but I'm aiming for it.
And how's that working out for you, Anika?
Well, we got this eye last week.
But, you know, it's a testament, though, to how powerfully that scene is written and acted by you, that even for somebody like me who would take Lorraine Hansberry's view, I don't believe in God, but when she says, in my mother's house there is still God, you are not going to mess with that woman.
It's very much in our community, in the African American community, it's the way we have survived. And if you believe in or have a faith or not in a God, it's the one thing that you would not speak against. You just keep your mouth shut, but you don't speak against it. And especially in open, you would never say that to your mother if you thought that. So she has blasphemed in the house that this mother is in charge of and is the head of. And by her blaspheming, then that sheds a light on the mother not doing her job.
Sophie, your character, what is her dream? I mean, it seems you're so worn down by dealing with this man-child husband of yours. I mean, you know, we know she's keeping the family together. We know she's going to dream of going off to be a doctor and see the world. What is it that your character at least hopes for, prays for, would like to have out of life?
I think she would like to be able to, I mean, her big dream is as soon as you mention that maybe we could put some money, a down payment on a 2-story somewhere, as soon as you say that, I think that's her dream, like to get out of that place and just to be able to live. Yeah. Just to live as humans. You know, it's somehow in humans what's happening there. They're just so crowded. There's no room. In society, they're not given a fair chance, a fair crack at the whip. So it's kind of inhuman. And also, it would be great to sort of heal the relationship somewhat. I mean, she's definitely loves Walter Lee.
Why is that? What is it about this character that Lorraine Hansberry created in Walter Lee, with all the mistakes he does, all the screw-ups? Why do these women still love him? I mean, I know it's his son.
Well, he's my son. He's lovable. And I see what he has had to go through. And I don't know, and I'm a mom, so I know what it's like to hold a baby. I know what it's like to watch him grow. And I can't even imagine what my child would have to do in order for me to step away and not love them anymore. Now, I did tell them in the beginning. I told everybody, look, I don't go to jail. I'm not going to, so if any if you decide that you want to be some aberrant child and bad, you'll be doing it by yourself. But I'm not doing any of that. So I guess that would, you know, if he had done something where I had to step away. But other than that, you love your child.
Yes.
Just because.
And your feelings for Walter Lee? I mean, what do you think? How does Lorraine Hansberry sketch in that relationship or develop that relationship?
I think that Benita is smart enough to understand that the world really has ruined Walter Lee. It is not all his fault.
No.
This moment is his fault, but it's not all his fault. Because his dreams, though they may not be the dream that you want to pursue, are dreams that possibly make sense. He talks about his friend who started a laundromat or something like that.
Grossing $100,000.
Making crazy money. So why would he not be able to start a business and make crazy money? This isn't the moment, and certainly not with my school fund.
No.
But you know, I think that there is nothing closer than sibling love. There is no one who has had the experiences that you have had together. And when that person shows that they have an ounce of the ability to redeem themselves, you want to hold on to that. You want it to be better.
What is it about him in the marriage that keeps you there? I mean, I actually must say, I still think, there's a sexual aspect to it. I mean, the way you guys play it, you are attracted to each other in spite of
It's so hard hearing you talk about how it comes across.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I live in a kind of, you know, I don't read reviews. I don't read anything about it.
I don't think we've known
So even when you said I'm careworn, I thought, is that how I'm coming across? Because I just playing the moment. I'm not really thinking about how it comes across. So it's even hard hearing it. I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to think about that tonight. You know? I just played the scene. That was just an aside.
Right.
But I think I always imagine, you know, in my kind of, when we were rehearsing, I would imagine how we met and the early days, and I would find clues in the text that support the history that I'm creating for Ruth. And
is it fun for you guys to watch each other in this play, because you all have great moments and great scenes?
We don't really get to because we're with each other.
Yeah. I'm watching it. I've not seen any.
Yeah.
Of the scenes.
Yeah.
We're there.
Well, that's right. You're always on there.
We're always
on the
there.
I've never seen any of the scenes other than when we were.
I have. Well, backstage, I'll watch the monitor sometimes because when you all are on, when he comes in the
Where
drunk
is
thing,
the monitor?
it reminds me of
Don't ever get off stage. You
of the honeymooners. I love it. You don't know
See,
what
now you're
that
never.
is.
Well, but
it's
you don't
good.
know what that is.
Sophie, it's a good thing you don't know that reference, because you would not be able to play this.
But
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I've often thought that Walter Lee reminds me of Ralph Cramden, that he comes up with these inventions that he wants to give money for.
It looks
and
like
it's gonna
that.
lose. Yeah, yeah.
Great performances, A Raisin in the Sun, and thank you very much for being our guest tonight on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys. You were wonderful.
Thank you.
Ruby, when were you brought into the show? Because you originated the role of the long-suffering wife on Broadway.
Yes. Well, the play was well on its way towards being produced by the time Lloyd was on board.
Lloyd Richards,
Lloyd Richards,
the director. Yeah.
And I was asked to, and I remember Lloyd calling to ask me would I like to read this new play that they were doing called Raisin in the Sun, and I said yes, you know, but I thought about the title, A Raisin in the Sun. Well, that's a grape that's all dried up, you know, and I wonder, is it still in the sun? I remember thinking about the title, you know.
When you first read the script, what was your reaction to it? Did you know this was a major play, something you hadn't seen before?
And I remember Lloyd calling to say that he needed an answer by, I think, noon the next day, something like that. And so by the next morning, I hadn't read it yet, so I stayed in bed and read it. I was enchanted. I was intrigued. I liked it so much. It made me really sit up and pay attention. Before I finished reading it even, Lloyd called. And I told him how much I liked the play and how thrilled I was. I loved it to beneath it, you know. I told him. I said, well, I just loved it. Because I just knew that's what he wanted me to do. It didn't even cross my mind that he didn't want me to do beneath.
Beneath is the daughter of the...
Oh, Ruby, I meant to tell you. I want you to do Ruth. And here I was behind the ironing board of life again. I'd done these characters a few times in my early career.
Did you read the play too, Ossie, when she was considering doing it? And
no.
No? No? Because you came in to replace Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, after the play had been established, it was a success. And Sidney's original commitment was fulfilled. He had to go back to Hollywood, I think. And so I was brought in to replace him as Walter Lee Younger. It was a busy time. Many things were happening. And major changes were taking place all over the place politically. You know, the South was alive, and new attitudes and new thoughts were on the horizon, you know. So this happened to be one of those things that came along that fitted in with whatever was happening. So sometime along the way I got on board, but I don't remember specifically.
Yeah. Do you remember when we first went to Phil's house? And do you remember that?
Now
film?
that's what I was going to talk about. I had a reading of the play at my apartment at Central Park West.
Was I
and
there?
you read. Without you being there, we probably would never go any further.
I read Ruth.
You read Ruth then, and that was a reading we did to try to convince Sidney to do the play. And also, nobody believed it would go much further than my living room.
That it should be a Broadway show. That was an unusual development, because nothing like that had been on Broadway before that I remember, where the central characters' lives were not involved with the welfare of somebody white. It was a family, and everything that was important in the world took place within that family. So no, we hadn't seen that before. It mirrored something else about black people in in America that was still living with black men in particular, young men. You can be the hero in an interracial play or in any kind of play if your existence makes better the welfare or the life of somebody white. You know, if you are enhancing the life of somebody white. But if you want something for yourself or for other black people,
then you're a threat.
Then you're a threat. Right. And so it's still that way, you know.
Well, well, all I can say is, if this is my time in life, my time to say goodbye to these goddamn cracking walls and these marching roaches and this cramped little closet which ain't now or never was no kitchen, then I say it loud and good. Hallelujah. And goodbye, misery. I don't never want to see your ugly face again.
Our thanks to the Friends of Theater Talk for their significant contribution to this production. Theater Talk is made possible in part by the Frederick Lowe Foundation, the Corey and Bob Donnelly Charitable Fund, the Noel Coward Foundation, Carrie J. Fries, the Dorothy Strelson Foundation, plus public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, the New York State Council on the Arts, a state agency, and the Theater Development Fund's Technical Accessibility Program, which helps provide closed captioning.
We welcome your questions or comments for Theater Talk. Thank you and good night.